welcome back to the channel. So first of all, the ice storm has passed us and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting. Western Kentucky got pounded with ice. I-64 was shut down and the Bluegrass Parkway because of the crazy ice conditions. I am in South Central Kentucky, and thankfully the system slowed down during the night and didn't even get here until around 7 a.m. At 7 a.m. the weather decided to change a little and it got warmer. Because we had been in sub-zero conditions for the past like 8 days, the ground is very frozen. And so that's pretty much the only thing that the ice was sticking to was the parking lots and the highways and the roads and the sidewalks and whatnot, but it did not stick to the power lines, thank God. So I have power, everything's good with that. The county schools were out. Pretty much every county in Kentucky did not have school today because of this wintry mess that we got, which turned out pretty good for me as far as, you know, not having ice, because I spent all weekend treating a fish, and that's kind of what I'm going to talk about now. I made a lot of videos last week, but one thing I never talked about was how I was dealing with Malachi. Malachi is my female calico Oranda. I named her way before I figured out that she was a female, and I decided that I wasn't going to change her name. I've had her since July of 2017. She came from PetSmart. She was not in the best of shape when I got her, and I've talked about all of that in another video. Her and Z at the same time, and she was very beat up, and she had a lot of flukes, and her gills were in pretty rough shape. She was missing part of fins, and she'd been fin nipped and caught up in filter intakes, and she was just in really rough shape. And I nursed her back to health, and she has been one of my favorite fish since then. And I don't usually say that. I don't have favorite fish, but she and I had a bond that I don't share with all of my fish. You know, I nursed her back to health. I'm gonna be a little bit closer to this fish than my other fish. Last week, I started noticing that she was carrying eggs, and that is not uncommon for female fish. So, you know, she was in a tank. She's usually in the tank right behind me with Josephine, the female Ryokan, Z, the male Oranda, and Eli, the male fantail. So she was in a tank with two males. I thought, oh, it's fine. You know, she'll either reabsorb them or she will release them and all will be wonderful in the world, because that's generally what happens. No, not this time. I started noticing on Friday that she wasn't acting like her usual self. Of course, they had been chasing her nonstop all week, and I didn't really see any progress in her as far as her belly or, you know, if it had went down or anything. It seemed more swollen to me, and there was no progress with her. Started watching her a little bit closer, and come Saturday morning, I found her at the top of the tank, gasping for air, refusing food, staying at the top of the tank. I got concerned, of course, and I ended up moving her to my hospital tank, which is basically a tub in my bathtub. That's pretty much what that is. She's in about 20 to 30 gallons of water. I don't have it filled all the way up, but she has a sponge filter with an air stone, and I added Epsom salt, as well as a heater that keeps the water between 78 and 80 degrees. So I watched her very, very closely on Saturday. I thought maybe she needed a break. They stressed her out too much, and she just needed time away from the boys. So Sunday morning came and she was still refusing food. She seemed to be swelling more, and I became very, very concerned. She would not eat anything that I gave her, and so I started reaching out for more opinions. I posted a few photos and some information on the Goldfish Community Forum, which I do often. I'm an active and well-known member on the site, and I wanted to see what else, what other people thought, if I was overreacting or if potentially there was something else going on. Now, I got several messages from several different users that, all kind of pointed in the similar direction. She is probably stressed out. They gave me all different kinds of information and some tips to use to make her release those eggs if it is in fact eggs. What I ended up doing was I went out and I got some supplies to make my own spawning mops. And if you don't know what they are basically a big green ball of yarn. You'll see it in the tub, but it's yarn that you cut to make a mop, and they like to release their eggs on that. And they're also, the eggs will stick to it, and it becomes so much easier for me to see if she released them or not. However, when I placed that in the water, she didn't have anything to do with it, and it did not work. So I thought, okay, I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to place Z, which is her mate, in the tank with her and see if maybe he can get her to release her eggs with the mop. I thought maybe she needed some encouragement. So I placed him in the tub, gave him a few hours, and nothing happened. He was not even slightly interested in her whatsoever, which is odd because he had chased her to death all week long, and I put him in the tub and he doesn't want anything to do with her. So I then took him out and put him back in the tank with the other fish. I didn't know what else to do with her. I was getting very, very anxious, and I just really had no idea what to do at this point. Now, I do have a YouTube channel and I have an Instagram, and I help people with other fish. Yes, I do that. But I don't know everything there is to know about goldfish, and I don't expect you to think that I do, because I don't. Nobody does. You're always going to learn something new in this hobby, and it doesn't matter how old you are, how long you've been doing it, you learn something every day. And I had tried everything that I knew to try. At this point, I added more Epsom salt to see if maybe I could get some reaction out of her, and that didn't work, but I left it in the tank. I then decided that I was going to do a water change. So I did her water change. I added the Epsom salt back, the heater, and so on. She seemed to be okay. She really wasn't very active. And then one of the Goldfish forum members, Jim, I believe, recommended that I try sloppy rice, which Gary Hayter uses with his fish. If you are in the goldfish community, and you have been for quite some time, you should know who Gary Hayter is. I thought, okay, I'll try that. She refused it, which really wasn't surprising to me. She refused everything that I've given her. At this point, she won't eat anything. I've tried her gel food, which she never refuses. She loves her gel food, and she refused it. I tried her pellet food. She didn't want it. Tried bloodworms. She didn't want it. Tried peas. She didn't want it. I tried everything. She did not want anything to eat. So, I was running out of options. I knew that there is always a potential that eggs can become impacted and can get infected, and then you will have issues with the fish. They can become septic and they can die. And that was always in the back of my mind. However, you don't want to think the worst when it comes to these fish, especially when it's in breeding season And I know it's the middle of winter, but with all of my tanks at the same temperature, it's always breeding season. So they never really ever stop. I was trying not to be too concerned because generally these things fix themselves, and I thought if I just gave her a timeout, she'd be cool. She's still not. And however, I was still thinking about the potential of a bacterial infection. And I thought, I don't like treating fish with medication unless I have no other choice, or if I know that, that is going to fix my problem. I don't know if that's going to fix my problem, but I tried, and all I had with me is Canaplex, and that's what I treated JoJo with when she had dropsy in September, and I still had some left. And it treats bacterial and fungal and septicemia and all that stuff. So I thought, that's the best shot I have if there's something going on that I can't see. Last night I introduced her to Canaplex, and this morning when I got up, I saw this. There really seemed to be no change in her swelling. However, she was swimming around the tank, and she was not doing that yesterday. She was bottom sitting most of the day. She didn't want to move very much. Even when I put the mail in with her, she really didn't do anything. So to me, that was a good sign. At least she's moving now. Maybe she's feeling better. Still have not saw any eggs. I did keep the spotting mop in the tub with her. However, there's been no eggs that have been released that I've seen yet. I don't really care if she releases them or reabsorbs them. I just want her to get better. And it's a really helpless thing when your fish get sick, because you feel really helpless. And with JoJo, with dropsy, I didn't expect JoJo to live. Dropsy is a very, very bad thing to happen to goldfish. I mean, rarely do you ever get a fish that can survive dropsy and live, and she's done just that. But when it comes to eggs, it's like the simplest thing in the world with these fish, and I feel absolutely helpless. I don't know if I can fix her. I don't know if she'll ever want to eat at this point, but I can only hope. And I hope that, maybe using the Canaplex was my, gut telling me that I need to do something else. I had that gut feeling Saturday, but I refused to do it because I did not want to use the medication because, I didn't really even know if she had an infection, and there's not really a way that I can tell. So I didn't want to, but I just had the feeling last night that I needed to. And when it's like a mother's instinct, that's what my mom keeps telling me. She kind of made fun of me, but you just know that you need to do something else. And to me, the Canaplex was what I needed to do at the time. I don't know if it'll help her, but as of this morning, she was more active, and I'm hoping that maybe tonight or tomorrow she'll start eating again. But I don't know, and it sucks. Majorly sucks. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on what's going on. I'm gonna keep monitoring her. If you follow me on Instagram, you will see her a lot, because a lot of the fans want to, keep them updated, want me to keep them updated, and I do just that. And it's a tough situation as to whether or not I'm going to be able to fix her or not, and I hope that I can. I don't want to, I lost Beauty in October, and I do not want to lose another one right now. When you have all these fish, you are going to lose them eventually, but she's just so young, and she has so many years ahead of her, and She's so pretty, and she just has the best personality of like any of my fish. But I hope that she does make it. And if y'all don't mind, send up some prayers and good vibes for me and Malachi, because we need it. But I'll keep y'all updated, and I'll see ya next time.